Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Ben.
I'm very excited this week.
Me too.
All right? Like, I'm excited every week.
Yeah.
But this is like a super exciting week.
Yeah, it's a very special episode.
Why is it special, Nicole?
We sat down and interviewed one of our previous thirst objects.
Yes. We love it. We're dropping you like Beyonce album style. We're dropping you a hot interview that we just did. And, we're very glad about this. It was a very good interview, wasn't it?
It was an exceptional interview. I'm so proud of us.
Toot your own horn, Nicole. Toot it. Toot it.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep tooting because we're very good at this.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Just throw that out there. But so this episode is going to be a little different from what we normally do. We usually start with the redacted and then the main conversation, some drabbles, all that kind of stuff. We're not going to have all that today.
So before we reveal who it is, I just want you to cast your mind back a few weeks. I think it was the 10th episode of season 2, the one called More, More, More.
Yeah.
And we featured 4 fine, upstanding gentlemen. But we received a shit ton of responses about one in particular.
Yes, and Mr. Rahul Kohli.
Yes. He is very, very attractive.
Very.
It's a little bit debilitating. I was like, how do you walk around with that face, you bastard?
Seriously. And he was so humble, but also not about it.
Which is my favorite mix of things because that's also me. I'm like, oh no, don't look at me. Please do. It was great. It was really, he's a really good interviewer, really chatty. And basically, we had so many people who were either discovering Rahul for the first time or were so glad that we had shone a spotlight on him.
Right. So many people have been waiting for his moment.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm just glad that we were able to do that for them.
Me too.
Oh my God.
It's real public service work out here. I feel like I'm a big charity worker, but it's not even charity. It's just the work of my heart. This is why I went to journalism school, guys. This is why I was in massive student debt. The long and short of it is we did the necessary and we made this shit happen for you. So shout out to Rahul for being very game and allowing us to kind of talk at him and basically tell him to tell us all about his inside thoughts.
Yeah, we did this interview over FaceTime, so we got to see his lovely face. It was early in the morning for him.
Yes, it was.
So he was just waking up, so he had, early morning voice.
Yes.
The hair was all array, looking like just, you know how I love a good bedhead, and that's what he had going on.
He did. Bless his heart. He had like a little mug he was drinking his coffee from, I imagine.
Yeah.
And he was very, very open. So I think this is the thing. It's very important when you are talking to somebody about things that are as intimate as desire and, how people have been shaped, etc., that they be open. And Rahul was definitely open with us. He was very relaxed.
Yeah.
And he just kind of we would ask him questions. We did the usual disclaimer. If you don't feel comfortable, just let us know.
Right.
And he was like, no, I'm pretty open. And then he was.
Yes.
He really was.
Yes.
Man, that was a good day.
All right, thirst buckets. Get a fan, get your glass of water, get whatever you need, some snacks, I don't know, whatever you need. Put down whatever heavy machinery you're operating.
Really, truly. No more accidents.
And get ready. Just picture Rahul's bedhead.
Yeah.
Reclining.
Reclining.
Imagine his fingers combing through his hair, that
So glad you said
lusciousness.
Remember also the very important information that Nicole imparted in that episode where she was going to smack her boob against Rahul's face.
Yeah, that might come back up.
Yeah, think about that moment as you settle in and really just take your time and let this wonderful interview just kind of wash over you. Enjoy. Nicole, do you want to start off?
We're gonna ramp up into some stuff, but I guess just to get it out of the way, do you consider yourself hot?
Wow. Yeah. Do I consider myself hot? I don't know. That's a tough one. I guess things like this make me think that maybe people like what they see.
Right.
But I mean, everyone kind of knows where they sit, I guess, and how they feel about themselves to a certain degree.
Yeah, but
I don't think I do. I think I'm okay. I do all right.
You do all right. Okay.
I do all right.
And where do you think much of your all rightness, your hotness, comes from? Do you connect it to your beard, your eyebrows, your hair?
It sounds like it's the beard, to be honest. Is what most people like. I'll do an episode pour my heart out, and then all anyone wants to talk about was what my beard looked like that episode.
You're basically just like, a piece of like steak to these people.
Yeah, hairy steak. That's it. That's all they care about.
All right. Well, obviously you're British. Who did you grow up on TV or film in the UK fancying? Who was someone that you thought, oh yeah, that's someone that I like?
There were Natalie Portman was probably one of my earliest crushes.
What specific role was that?
It was Star Wars. It would have been like Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones and stuff, and also like man crushes as well. I was very prone to a good man crush. Like Harrison Ford was up there for me. Pierce Brosnan.
Yes.
I was a big Bond fan growing up, so to me that was like, the height of handsome. I think if there was anyone else when I was younger, there was a lot actually. But Portman still kind of stayed, I guess. That was probably the most intense kind of crush I had.
The most intense and the most enduring, clearly.
I think so, yeah. It's not anymore.
Uh-huh.
Rihanna is probably my favourite now of all time. But
Okay,
yeah.
that's fair. That's like a solid move to the left or the right. Good job.
All right.
So basically, there's a lot of stuff about Ravi being a sort of because of the nature of his job. He's clearly someone who's very smart. I suppose the cheap shorthand would be to say he's a bit of a geek.
Right.
Do you think it's still hard for people to understand that geek and hot are not mutually exclusive necessarily? And it's something that more often than not, all of us manage to marry into our lives as we go on?
Well, I think there was a time where geek culture was unattractive, I think, or perceived as unattractive. I think it's just not niche anymore. Geek culture is so mainstream, or at least facets of it are, that I don't think people associate that now. Like being a gamer or cosplay or going to conventions, those things have become so commonplace now that they're not necessarily associated with that stereotypical Simpsons-looking geek. You know what I mean? But there are still real niche things within geek culture where I think people are still a little, I don't know, closed-minded about it. But yeah, no, I don't think that people think they're mutually exclusive anymore.
Is there someone that you kind of model yourself after when it comes to the quote-unquote hot geek role? Is there a particular person that you kind of admire and model yourself after?
Not really. I have a weird thing that someone I look up to, which is Idris Elba, which isn't a hot geek, but he's someone I do look at because we're both from London, and he sort of transcended race in terms of like his appeal. I think he's one of the most widely accepted and appreciated actors. Just for being attractive and talented, and being Indian, I don't think we have someone like that. I don't know why, but I've always looked at that, and not that I'm the next Idris, which is ridiculous to say.
Is it though? It's not. You're all right. It's
never
fine.
give up.
No, but like I always think that it would be nice to be a leading man to kind of be able to for other reasons other than just physicality, but like that's someone I would rather look at in terms of like someone whose footsteps I would try to walk in or inspire to do. Yeah.
I think you've already kind of answered it, but besides Idris Elba, you've mentioned Pierce Brosnan as well. Was there someone that you thought of when you were younger as that's the epitome of like masculinity? Like that's the thing that I would like to kind of, I want to be like that, or you know, when we spoke to Chris Evans, he mentioned how for him a big part of his idea of masculinity and manhood was Tom Cruise, because he grew up in the 80s and 90s, and that was like the guy. Was there something similar in your life that you thought, oh yeah, that's the dude?
Yeah, there was a few. I always liked Rebels. Like the kind of bad boy image was something that I always looked at. I liked people that just didn't conform. Or people like weirdly, I think Ewan McGregor was one of them.
Oh yeah,
and I think I saw a picture of him when I was a kid, and he was smoking a cigarette in his Obi-Wan Kenobi outfit on a like just in a chair, and I was like, oh my god, that's so rock star. But yeah, I mean, I think I've had more man crushes than women crushes, and in terms of like looking at people and drawing from inspiration. And yeah, it's been so, there has been so many to a point I couldn't really just say one. There's been so many instances. I mean, off the top of my head, even just in terms of hair, this is so weird because my sister used to watch it. I don't even watch the show. But you know The Hills?
Yes.
Justin Bobby.
Yes.
So weird. But even as like a 19-year-old or 20-year-old or whenever I saw it, I was like, who's this? Oh, what's going on? What's this beard? What's this hair? Like it just all along the way, there was always something. I was always constantly, I don't know, looking and stealing something or trying to find something.
I mean, now that you mention it, that is very Bobby-esque hair that you've got there.
It can be, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the fact that you do the bulk of your work in the US as a British actor is something that obviously is kind of has been entrenched in the last, I guess, for most people of color who are actors who've had to leave the UK in order to find opportunities. Do you think that you are perhaps, I don't know, finding more ground in the US? And if there are any differences between the roles that you get in the US and in the UK and how that has kind of like affected you in terms of what kinds of work you want to do?
I was just stuck in a rut. Like, it wasn't going anywhere in the UK for me for like 10 years. And I just booked iZombie off a tape from London. And then, so it was more so like, it came for me, and then I found out that, oh, they like me here. And then I started doing auditions for other stuff. And it was so varied over here. Like, the things that I've been going up for just doesn't have a pattern. You know, it's been lead male romance roles or real dark. Like, it's just been such a mix, and none of it has been particularly specifically for my race. It's just been dudes. Like, you'll read the script, and I'm like, sounds like it was written for a white actor, or it could be anyone. Like, there was no reason why they're contacting me. Whereas in England, that was very rare. The things I got sent for in England for 10 years was pretty much like me and the same 7 or 8 dudes would be in the room, and we all looked the same, reading for the part of Raj. And it was either one of two things. I swear to God, it was terrorism, or it was someone had decided to write a script and it would be cutting edge, and it was about, you're this dude and your parents have arranged for you to be married, but you already have a girlfriend on the side. I mean, I read every script was pretty much that, and they thought that they were the first ones doing it. But like, yeah, I just felt like in the UK, to summarize, the US, it is best man for the job, and there is a little bit more, like, I don't know, there's less limits. There doesn't feel like there's a ceiling as much as there is in the UK. And in the UK, it was frustrating. It felt like they were only recycling the 2 or 3 dudes to play everything, and it was the same crap. And to be honest, and maybe I shouldn't say this, but like, I'm quite sour about the UK and bitter. I mean, if iZombie hadn't come around, I probably would still be. Well, I probably wouldn't be acting. I mean, after 10 years, I was about to pack it in. So now there's a reluctance for me at the moment. I do have this weird, like, when they ask me, hey, would you like to come back and do this show, or would you want to do this? I do have this weird, like, nah, I'm all right. Like, the US kind of embraced me and adopted me. I don't know if I'm in a rush to go home.
That's
so,
fair. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. So since you've been on iZombie, you've kind of evolved online on Twitter when it comes to tackling a lot of ignorant things that people say to you. Sometimes you're kind of like, let me just take this and use this as a teaching moment. And then sometimes you give as good as you get, and you're cussing people out, and you're just like, this is stupid. So how do you decide which side you're going to give that day?
Right.
I don't. I honestly, I think it's literally just like anyone. Maybe I'm too. I think someone said a follower had said the reason they followed me was because I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I think that's probably exactly what you're seeing, which is, I mean, and it's not fair, but we're only human. But like, if someone from back home pisses me off on FaceTime, and then I go on my notifications and someone's like, "Oh, you're an ugly fucker," I probably will react depending on just how I felt from something else. There is a vetting that I'll do, and it's slightly unfair, but whereas so not everyone just gets called the C word or something. Like if I do notice, quite obviously, I'm like, this is a kid. Maybe I'll take my foot off the accelerator and maybe just use this as a moment to just educate or handle it differently. When I clearly see it's a 40-year-old man, I might be a little bit more ugly with him, but I also don't like to discriminate. Ignorance is ignorance. So it's just, like I said, it's just a mood thing.
Right. And how do you keep yourself from being discouraged? Like when you're in the middle of gaming and, you're live gaming or, you're trying to promote your show and then someone comes in with some stupid racist shit. How do you keep yourself from being discouraged and losing sight of your end goal?
Because nothing's going to knock me off my end goal. Not some anonymous account, because that's the thing. It doesn't really do anything to me. I mean, there was a time when I was my first year of iZombie, people not liking me was the worst thing in the world. And I only had like 300 followers during the first season of iZombie, and that was pretty much what I had before the show started. And when it started to tick over, and the first time someone told me I was wrong, or my opinion was wrong, or I had got it wrong, or I'd been corrected, I remember it was so upsetting and worrying. And after a while, everyone just it just happens. I just value it less. I value each and every account less and less because there is so much just quantity. You just can't care enough anymore. To the point now where it's like a video game. Twitter's like it doesn't even feel like real people. Unfortunately, it just looks like AI. I'm reading every tweet in the voice that I happen to read it. Again, how I read someone's tweet just happens to be on my mood because it's in my head. It's my voice. You know what I mean? Right. So it's just become, I don't know. It's a very strange just addiction, and it just doesn't have any kind of effect on me. The only thing I do worry about is my aspirations and goals. Like I said, I'm not here to just be on the CW for a few years and then disappear. Like I want to be maximize my opportunity. I want to be leads in movies. I want to be, as successful as I possibly can be. I don't know if Disney want to hire me when I call people the C word on Twitter. And that's where I'm a bit like, there's going to be a day where maybe if you're announced as something that's quite large, people are going to start digging out tweets and it's going to be a problem for you. And that's the only thing I do worry about. But yeah.
That's the price of modern living on the internet, isn't it?
It is. Everyone's got receipts. And maybe I've been, that's going to be my punishment. Maybe because at the end of the day, in the position I'm in, I've not really said anything outrageous, but I can get away with it because no one cares. I'm not even C-list. I don't know how far down the list I am currently, but no one cares. And that's what I realized. I was like, holy, like, I get away with murder because I'm kind of operating in a weird purgatory. Like I'm nothing. But the minute I want to be something, or the minute I get something worth having, that's when it will be like, this is offensive, this is disgusting, this is misogynistic, this is like everything will just, I will see it, and that's the only time I think, this Twitter personality is going to bite me in the arse.
I mean, let's hope it doesn't come to that.
Right.
I feel like, everyone's allowed to have an off day. I do think about the days in which, like you say, depending on your mood, and you just kind of go, do you know what? Not today. And I'm just going to just let whoever have it. And then you come back and you're like, do you know what? That was actually a bit over the top or whatever. But, it happened and it was relevant. It was real in the moment. So, you're right. The thing about receipts, I think, is a constant worry for anyone with any kind of platform, because you're thinking, God, when is this might come around and just bite me, which I think is fair. I think that's fair, and it's the price of modern life.
Well, look, we'll defend you. We
I
have your
appreciate
back.
that. Thank you.
I mean, I think you saw some of the responses when we did do the episode where we spoke about you. Was it a surprise to you that so many people were kind of like, oh my God, yes, I do fancy Ravi. Oh my God, I'm so glad you did this episode because I've been thinking about it for ages and I'm so glad you kind of gave voice to this thing that I've been thinking or feeling. Was that a surprise to you, or were you kind of like, yeah, I'm pretty hot stuff?
No, it was a surprise. Absolutely. There's like I'm always going to be the 14-year-old Indian boy. I grew up feeling like Indian men just they weren't really celebrated or lusted after. Particularly when I was in London, I went to a predominantly white school, and it was very obvious that no one wanted some spice in their life. And even like as a 19-year-old, and I the dating game and all of that stuff, everything kind of happened for me so late. Even as a 19-year-old, 20-year-old, 21-year-old in London, the point was just like I said, Zayn Malik is mixed race. He's Pakistani. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was the first time I was like someone remotely like from that kind of part of the world was really celebrated and lusted after, and it was, and I was thinking about just how important that is for 12-year-olds who identify with Zayn, like boys who are like, oh wow, okay, they're and just to show another side of something and to offer people another flavor. Because when I grew up, there just wasn't, unless you were into Bollywood. Like in Western media, you don't really talk about Indian dudes because there just wasn't any. And there's where I come full circle back. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, bang, back to Ravi on iZombie. From the pilot onwards, when that character started to make it into BuzzFeed lists or Tumblr posts or whatever, Thirst posts and yours podcast, things like that.
Yeah.
It really it surprises me, but it's such a win for me. Not in an ego stroking way, but in a bigger picture kind of way. Like I know that I wish I had seen iZombie or been on Twitter when, you know what I mean? Like I had seen this when I was 15, 16 or whatever. And like a dude with thick, like eyebrows and thick hair and, brown skin and bushy beard or whatever. Like people were like, yep, I like that. Like, that's great. Like there's so many things he represents, like all within one character. It's such a, I don't know. I'm very lucky.
Yeah. I mean, also, it's not like you just locked into it. It is a bit of work on your end.
Well, and the writers, we
Yeah.
all, there's at least 20 people responsible for one character to a certain degree. So yeah,
Were they
for sure.
were they keen on you keeping your British accent, or did they ask for you to try an American accent?
No, we kept it was British from. I think initially the character was American,
Okay.
but the search got extended just through not really finding what they want, and then the doors were opening up in different territories, and then it finally, I think the last place it opened up in was the UK, and I think by that time, once they had opened that up, they kind of resided to the fact, well, you could be British,
Right.
but it was for a 40-year-old. They
Oh.
changed it to I was the exception. The role became younger because they wanted me.
Shout out to you then.
Yeah, it was for a much older man.
One of my favorite parts of Ravi is the fact that he is a sexual romantic being and that he gets a little play. And I think in this last season finale, Ravi is with Peyton and
Yep.
another character knocks on the door because she has to leave, and she's like, "Ravi, you beast, you animal!" She praises him from what she overheard as he was getting it in, and I wonder if it kind of goes back to what you were just talking about, though, seeing this character that you'd never seen before, and I wonder how much do you influence the writers? Do you say, can we please make sure that Ravi is, that he's a beast?
Oh God.
I don't think I'm not sure if I do. I mean, I do know that the character was written like heavily geeky and stuff. And then and this is kind of an ego stroking moment here, but when we went to Comic Con, I went. So we'd shot the pilot, and I looked a certain way for the pilot. We didn't really have any interaction, and then we got picked up for season 1, and then we all went to Comic Con. And when we went to Comic Con, I went in my own clothes and just styled my own hair, did my own thing. And I think Diane had said to Rob Thomas, "We need to change. We can't play the geek troubled in love, like that same stereotype with Rahul. We just can't do that. It's not going to work. And then they paired me off with Ali, and that was actually going to be killed off, and then it got kind of rejuvenated. And it's one of those things. Like I'm very grateful that they do those storylines with Ravi, and that Ali Mashalka, who's arguably one of the most beautiful women I've ever met or worked with, is Ravi's love interest, and no one bats an eyelid.
Right.
Which is awesome.
Oh, you're just a precious little thing.
It's because it's in the morning. I don't get. If I'd spoken to you in the evening, I'm a lot more cocky. Very vulnerable. I just woke up.
Oh, bless.
So, what's next for you? What are some of those dream projects that are percolating in your mind?
We saw you in Happy Anniversary.
Yes.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. We watched that
Oh,
film largely because of you, to be very honest.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
No, because, I was like, oh, it's Rahul Kohli. Literally, I say this about every British person that is not in Britain. I'm like, oh, that's clearly my cousin, so I have to support.
Yeah,
so,
sure,
obviously, you get it.
Yeah.
So what other roles? I mean, hopefully, you've already mentioned romantic comedies. Will we see you in more? Do you want to be in more?
Yeah, I'm doing a smash and grab right now. When people start looting, like when you see a riot and then people are smashing into like Best Buy, stealing. That's how I feel like my acting career is right now. Like I will smash and grab everything I can because I don't know when this is going to be over. Right? And like when they go, right, we're done with you, we're tired of you. So I have a secret project which I'm still not allowed to talk about, but it's a voiceover.
Yes.
For a game.
Nice.
Yeah, that's something I've always wanted to do. So that's gonna be announced at some point. But the first world problem with iZombie is that we weren't really allowed to do much work because we filmed for 7 months and then you're on hold. You're not really allowed to go to pilot season. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be the first year this year that we are going into filming knowing that we are now free and able to do pilot season, to book films, to do stuff, because we will be available. So anything I want to do is the work starts kind of now is when we're going to start looking at what the next project is. Right. Because I'll be unemployed next January.
Let's hope it's a very, very brief unemployment. You don't want to start collecting unemployment checks. No benefits.
I know, right? Yeah, this is very scary for me. I haven't been in this position since iZombie, so I don't want to go back to where I was before then. So we'll see. But
you won't. Not we have anything to do with it.
Right. We're mounting a campaign as we speak, so don't worry about it.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, again, so many, like Twitter, again, same thing. Like people want me as Doctor Who. Keep seeing that. They want me as, at some point, obviously Doctor Who's already that position's filled. But I get James Bond, which is ridiculous. Ain't gonna happen. But
it's not that ridiculous.
It makes my dad happy.
That's you know what? If you can go a day and make your dad happy, that's like a solid win.
Yeah. Exactly. He's he got me into that. And then there was like an NBC article or something where I was the cover of like, should Bond be ethnic or something along those lines? Yeah. And I sent it to my dad, and he got really, he just never thought that was possible. He took me to my first Bond film. But yeah, like Star Wars, so people are always trying to get me employed. So
that's good.
I appreciate all the online campaigns.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we need to get you in a Star Wars movie. Yeah. I think the world would implode. Everyone's like with excitement just because, just from following you on Twitter, you are really into Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at the socks. I just realised.
Oh my God. But for our listeners, there's a grey Star Wars socks with like red toes and red heels. So that's a solid geek move there.
And you can also look at that.
Yeah. Oh my God, a collection of, oh my God.
Is that Darth Vader?
That's Darth Vader's helmet?
That's Darth Vader.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow. Yeah. And that's Batman right there. Listen, you really are a geek. Congrats.
A little bit, yeah.
Also, I'm sorry to peer into your home, but those are like guitars on the wall as well. So there you go, guys. It's real.
Oh wait, hold on. But you don't like that because I did listen to the thing.
You guys gave me. No. Okay, all right. Let me walk that back. I'm gonna. Essentially, wow.
He's waking up now.
I know. I'm like, oh shit. No. All I mean is, generally speaking, An acoustic guitar at a party is essentially somebody pulling out a house gun at a party. Because I'm just like, for fuck's sake, not every day, like fake.
100%.
Right.
100%.
So that's like my general beef with like dudes with guitars.
But I don't even, that extends to a lot of things.
That's true. That's fair.
I don't like anyone showing off and doing, like, I think I was at a rap party a couple of days ago for Malcolm's film. And someone was like, we were all just talking at the bar, and someone was like, started singing to the point where we all had to stop and listen while they looked at you and sang a song like a cappella. And it fucks me off so much. And to me, like, I get the sentiment. Like, anyone who does shit like that just fucks me off. Like,
right.
I just don't like people go, look at me, my talent.
Right.
I don't stand up at parties and do Richard III monologue.
Exactly. And that's my I'm like, listen, I can write you a fucking good paragraph, but I'm not going to do that because we're all here to have a good time.
I'd like to see that at a party where you just write a paragraph.
Just pull out an easel and be like, okay, the structure of the sentence begins like this. That's how I tend to do it. No, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel you get it. Like, I'm just saying, it's just in general, like you said, if anyone's kind of doing too much, I'm like, all right, sit down.
Well, maybe you need to, post some more videos of you playing the guitar so we can get used to it, and welcome it.
I'm just not, I don't like losing, and I'm not good at guitar. Like, I'm okay for someone who just learned from YouTube. I hate losing, so I don't play games I lose at. I don't post up stuff I'm not great at.
Fair.
Same.
It's like basically saving your best thirst photos for like the moments where they count. It's like, don't put it up at like 7 a.m. Put it at like noon when everyone's at lunch.
I do that as well. But I get confused though, because I'm on 2 times, because I got a lot of my following is split between US and UK. But I know the best time to put a picture up.
There you go.
It's 1 p.m. my time, which is just enough time for Brits and Americans to see it. And that usually gets all the thirst posts.
You're a thirst mathematician, and we appreciate
I am.
efforts.
I love it.
We respect
I love
that.
doing it. I do.
Our listeners were over the moon when we featured you. So this feels like a real treat for the people who are just kind of like, we need more. And we're like, all right, we'll get you some more. And here you are. So thank you so much.
Yes,
actually, I want to thank you guys, because anyone who takes the time to kind of say really nice stuff has my heart. And I really appreciate you guys doing that. And and it made my morning. I blushed in bed. I think someone... See, I'm going to try and make you... Someone said something about my beard and a boobie.
That was
Nicole.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think I genuinely blushed. I remember in the morning, and I was like, okay.
Wait, can I ask though? Like,
Oh, God.
has anyone ever slapped you in the face with a boob? Can I ask
course.
that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm 32. I think at this point, that would be weird if they hadn't.
Oh, my God.
I mean, we don't want to get all in your business, but I just needed to know.
That's all good.
Oh, my God, Nicole, I hate you so much.
See, I like that as we're rapping and as we're wrapping up this conversation, I will pretty much answer anything. I am an open book, but you guys unfortunately didn't know, and now we're wrapping it up.
Right.
And you could have got way more out
No,
of me.
we were trying to be respectful.
We're trying to be respectful.
I know.
We're professionals.
Okay, wait, can I ask one more question?
Oh, my God, now you've opened up Pandora's
Maybe.
box. All right.
No. Okay, so you mentioned that you like Rihanna.
Yes, yeah.
You probably don't have like the ability to suggest castmates just yet for, your next projects or anything. But, I was wondering, maybe you could just have this in the back of your mind.
I see where you're going, and I like it, Nicole.
To get some, black and brown love happening in one of your next projects. There's a lot of sisters out there love you.
Yeah.
The feeling's mutual.
Look at that. I'm going to send you a £10 check just to say thanks for that.
No, I actually asked for... I actually made that request in iZombie at one point. But then the character and the storyline was non-existent, so it ended up. But I had asked for that early. Like, if there was a very brief moment where Peyton wasn't like we weren't associated, and I think I had said I had wanted this casting particularly, if we were going to go down there, I had asked for a black girl, because I it's just representation, man, and it's also
Yes.
like it just is what it ain't a thing to me. Like, I grew up in London.
Exactly.
It just ain't a thing to me. Like, in fact, it's weird that it's only ever just been white. So I'm like, what's that about?
Yes. I watch
But
iZombie faithfully, and this
You
is
got me into it. I wasn't watching it, and then Nicole was like, "You should watch iZombie." So
and that's something that I had noticed, that there was a lack of black women characters on this show. I mean, in the first couple of seasons, there were some characters, but not anyone who was there for long term. And I was a little concerned about that, but I pushed through. But I mean, and this isn't necessarily the interview to talk about that, but that is something that I noticed, and I appreciate that you noticed that as well, and we're trying to campaign for something.
Absolutely. I mean, we also we've also aware that we don't have many, if any, LGBTQ plus characters. I mean, at this point, it's difficult to. I mean, obviously, I'm part of the show,
Right.
but there isn't any. I know, and I never take it personally, that it's not an active. There hasn't been an active choice to not do it. I know that there has been discussions where it's like, we do not hire black women on this show, just so everyone, like, that has never been an issue. So I mean, yeah, it's all I know is, and I'm still iZombie in terms of representation, is there are a few male leads on the show, but a lot of it, probably the male lead is Malcolm Goodwin, and then I'm there. And me and him, we bookend Rose. And for a show where it's a female-led show, and the first two characters next down is a black man and an Indian man, we're still doing well in that respect. In terms of, but you're right. Hopefully, that will be rectified or in season 5. But in terms of my career, when I have control, yeah, absolutely, of course. But like, I kind of do want there to be no kind of pattern. I am a man who has dated and been with or whatever, or been or whatever you want to call it, but like I've never, I think with everyone at some point, or nearly every race or ethnicity or whatever.
Right. Which is why I was so glad to see Priya in Happy Anniversary. I was like, oh, look, finally. Like, it's like, I also really love the joke about, when the Ben Schwartz character says, your parents had an arranged marriage, and you were like, they met in medical school, you fucker. Like, what are you even? And again, I was like, it's not that there aren't arranged marriages, because clearly there are. But, not every single story of brown love or, brown relationships come from the same basket. And over you're kind of sold this. Like, this is the only way that you can have this. Like you were saying about that story about your parents want to arrange your marriage, but you've got a girlfriend on the side. And it's like, oh, Jesus, still? 2018, still?
It's, and I mean, and the thing is like, and I kind of don't, I don't have a go at like audience members for thinking that, or people going their day-to-day life, because we do learn most of our stuff we do learn through media. I know that especially the older generations, everything my gran started learning after a certain point was from TV, because it's not going out no more, it's not working. Same goes for my old man. Like, I can see him getting a little bit more tunnel vision and narrow, and like, I know where he's picking up his opinions from, because I'm like, you don't work no more. So he's getting all these stereotypes, he's getting this from television. Or, you know what I mean? Or he thinks one thing about something because this is his window to the world. So unless we have a responsibility in media that to color things and to kind of show representation and show that there are more to just one idea or one stereotype. And for me, I am so like there are so many sides to me. Like you said, like the Star Wars, right? All of that. But at the same time, as much as a geek, look, I'm building a Lego thing, but I'm also, I'm a chain smoker. I drink a lot. I go out partying. I drive muscle cars. I don't date just Indian women or arranged marriages. Like there are so many. I could be a football hooligan as well. I'm a bit of a sports nut and Liverpool fan and jock. But I'm a geek. But I'm not, like, there's no one box for anyone. And So yeah, when doing work, I'm also very aware when I do read scripts, and we've turned down some stuff this year. So I haven't been as busy, but I read a few scripts, and I was like, I don't want to play that dude because I don't want to. I do not want to contribute to this crappy stereotype. Not interested. I just don't want to do it. If you want to tell that story, give it to another dude. That's on him if he wants to do that. I'd rather, I'm more likely to take a role that doesn't really require me to be Indian and just slot in with a cast and with a diverse cast, and people just accept, well, yeah, he's in, but the storyline doesn't revolve around it. Those are the roles that I'm like Happy Anniversary. That wasn't written for an Indian person. The only line that changed was that arranged marriage one with the medical school. Everything else was as it existed. The only thing that changed is, that Indian line, and instead of playing basketball, we started playing football. That role was written with just open. Same goes for Supergirl. Supergirl was not asked for that. Those are the roles that I'm trying to take.
All right. Well, hopefully many more are kind of winging their way to you. Again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you.
You have been a delight and a half.
And he really was a delight and a half.
Yes, I became even more smitten just talking to him.
I think I'm actually 97% more in love with him. So this has been a successful conversation. Thank you so much, Rahul. So normally at this point in the show, we would be doing fanfic wars. But, we switched up so much already this week.
Yeah, we want to do something a little extra special.
Just spice it up.
Yeah.
Sprinkle in some listener goodliness all the way through. Like just something extra.
Yeah.
So this week we've gone into our inbox and we have basically selected a couple of stirring and incredibly sensual drabbles.
Yeah, they're very sweet, but also just very hot.
So we went to the inbox, and what did we find, Nicole?
We found some really good drabbles. Our listeners are so good. I mean, they're just very talented, very thirsty, and it makes for some incredible content.
I love it. So we've selected two from our inbox to kind of read for you. And, it's not technically a fanfic wars because, our listeners don't send in the drabbles to be judged via Twitter polls.
Right.
So we're just going to read these for your pleasure.
Right. We won't have a Twitter poll about these because, they're so good and we just want to share them with you. But, this has been a special episode. So we're going to do something a little different.
I like it a lot. I'm going to go first.
Okay.
And this one is from a listener called Lauren. And it is, of course, about a Scottish dynamo by the name of James McAvoy.
I like him.
Lauren, you got some good taste. I appreciate your time and your efforts. Here I go. Should I have a go? James's lips brush against my ear before he nods toward the piano. It sits in the middle of the crowded area, awaiting any person willing to be on public display. He settles on the bench as I lean against the side of the gorgeous old grand. His fingers begin to move. The song is long and winding, an original composition that makes me think of how he dances with me alone in our flat. People stop to stare, but when he grins that devilish smirk, it's only at me. James presses the final set of keys with one hand, letting the other come to rest against the back of my bare thigh. His thumb traces underneath the hem of my skirt, a silent promise to play me with as much skill as he just did the instrument.
Okay, Lauren.
Listen, Lauren said you're going to get this today. All right, Lauren. Have a sip of water, Lauren. You're doing a lot, Lauren.
Wow.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I like it.
Well, who are you reading from today, Nicole?
I am reading from a listener named Anna Rose.
What a classic name.
They wrote in about Tatiana Maslany.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I always meant to watch that show of hers and I never did.
I watched a couple of episodes. It didn't grab me, but I understand why it had such a popular following.
Right, she's a hottie.
Yeah.
And she's a very talented actor.
Yeah.
And all the other good stuff. So yeah, I get that. So okay, what did Anna Rose bring to the table about Tatiana?
All right. She came to me on rollerblades. In her audition, I wondered if anyone else was as blinded as I was. I fetched her coffee for several weeks, collecting her grateful flash grins and stowing them in my jacket next to my chest. Yes. There was always a second, at least, for her to look at me before someone called for her attention again. Everything was always moving, but she knew how to pause. "Where's yours?" she said once, at some time in the morning that you only share with foxes and a crew you won't know in 6 months. Later, we dragged the dregs in order to stay in each other's company, suspending the moment, steam rising between us, a smoke signal in the middle of the American diner. We walked quickly against the cold, quietly buzzing, boots clopping in a way that means we don't have to say it. I show her where mine is at some time of the night that I now only share with her.
Anna Rose put her foot in that.
Yes.
What?
That was so beautiful.
Smoke signals in the American diner, bitch? Yes.
The time of night that now I only share with her. Come on. Anna Rose, are you a writer? Come through.
Oh, that was so much fun. We should read more listener drabbles, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, in future weeks, we're going to do more of that
Yes.
because I really enjoyed this and I'm
Yes.
glad you keep sending us stuff. So we definitely have material. So thank you so much for sharing with us, Lauren and Anna Rose, because we enjoyed reading those so very much.
Thursday Kit is produced by us, Nicole Perkins and Bim Adewumi, Julia Furlan, and TK Duteste. We also had additional production support from Camila Salazar. Our music is by Tanya Morgan.
A special thank yous this week to our wonderful, wonderful interview, Rahul Kohli, who was open and great and wonderful, and we just love him. And also a big thank you to our marvelous listeners whose drabbles we read, Lauren and Anna Rose.
You can follow the show on Twitter at Thursday Kit, and we're at Tennessee Whiskey Woman. That's TN Whiskey with an E, Woman, and Bimadew, BIMADEW. Plus, we're on Tumblr at ThursdayKitPodcast.tumblr.com. Come thirst with us over there.
For our Thirst Sommelier service, please call and leave a brief voice message on 765-884-4778. That's 7658 And non-US listeners can send us a very short voice note via email, which is, of course, thirstaidkit@buzzfeed.com.
Please head over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review and rate the show. It helps other people discover Thursday Aid Kit, and we always appreciate 5 stars.
If you like Tweet Your Listen, please use the hashtag TACPOD, that's TAKPOD, and you can send us emails of love, affection, and, maybe a cash gift at thirstaidkit@buzzfeed.com.
We'll be back next week. We love you, and in the meantime, stay hydrated.
Should I have a go? James, sorry, I'm just laughing. James's lips is just ridiculous.
He has none.
He has none. There are no lips there.